Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Four Lights Wellness. My name is Omid, and in this video, how to build the body you want. And more importantly, how to avoid failure while you're doing so. As a holistic trainer, I look at people's programs all the time, and too often I see that they've just seen some cool exercise somewhere out there or seen somebody else in the gym doing something that they want to do, not really realizing that they don't actually have the physical structure themselves to handle it, and also not really having the patience to move from point A to point B to get to their goal. And then they get injured. And that's usually when they find me. So hopefully when you watch this video, you're gonna have a lot more information available to you to program it yourself, or you'll know that you should contact me and I'll help write a program for you. The most important thing I can talk about in this video before we get started is that a muscle, let's take this bicep for example, will actually be made of 3 different types of muscle fibers themselves. And they all do completely different things, and they all need to be trained differently to get results. We start with the type 1 fibers. And the analogy that I'm going to be using to explain these fiber types is just how to build a boat in general. I can make a boat out of a lot of different things. But when it comes to the material that it's actually made out of, the flexibility, the stability, the rigidity, the density, that type of stuff is all these type 1 fibers. I can make a paddleboard out of foam, or I can make a gigantic ship out of steel that carries a ton of stuff. Does everybody need to be made of steel? No, right? But hopefully you're not just made of foam and can handle a light breeze. You do want to do more than just get off the couch and go to the fridge, right? Especially if you're watching this video. But me, for example, I tend to aim right here in the middle of this stuff, and I design my workouts appropriately for that. 2, maybe 3 times a week is all I'm really working out. Hopefully it looks like it. The next thing we want to start talking about is the type 2A fibers. This is the strength stuff. This is the size stuff. This is the glamour stuff, the six-pack muscles that everybody looks at on fitness magazines and Instagram and says, I want more of that. Well, they could be just a simple canoe, or they could be a battleship, right? How big and strong and tough and durable are they? The strength and the size. And again, there's a continuum here between these two. Lots of different types of boats. Apparently, I'm learning about all that these days with my wife, but you get to choose what type of ship and body you really want to build size-wise here. And there's a certain requisite of strength that you need to do basic things, right? For example, if you've got the body that's more like a canoe and you try to pick up a couple bags of mulch to go take care of your yard, you might hurt yourself because you just don't have the requisite strength. Likewise, do I really need battleship level strength to just go do the mulch in my yard? No. So that's where the lifestyle starts to come in. The last one is type 2B. These are the power muscles. These are the ones that do an incredible amount of output in a very short amount of time. Do you have squirt gun level power? Beep, beep, like little tiny bit? Or do you have the big giant cannon that you really want to do? I'm completely fine with you wanting a cannon, but here's the point of the video. You can't fire a cannon from a canoe. And likewise, you can't build a battleship out of foam. You've got to start on that side, build yourself up towards this side. Even though these are the glamour things, these are the ones that look good in magazines and these are the ones that look good on TV, but these are the ones that actually build people in the first place. And this is where I spend most of my time as an athlete myself. It's where I spend a lot of time coaching people in the first place to get real long-lasting results. And every single time I've heard people starting here, they usually see success for somewhere between 3 and 6 months. They either give up because it's not sustainable, or they get injured and they end up right back at square one. That's usually when they hire me. So next level down here, this is really the success formula. And I promise if you follow this in order, you're going to avoid all those pitfalls that I was talking about before. Flexibility and stability is the #1 most important thing you have to go after. If a joint is unable of actually moving through a range of motion and you try to load it, it's going to tear itself apart. The big muscles move way too much, the little muscles move way too little, and then that moves friction into the joint. We start getting arthritis. We end up getting stenosis or any other arthrosis or thrombosis into that joint. Eventually it starts to get necrosis and starts dying. That's when you need a replacement. So we got to start here first. And I have bad news for you if you're watching this video just fresh off the couch wanting to go to the gym. This usually has a foundational phase of 2 to 3 months for most people. It's not boring, right? It's not just planks and things like that, but we really do want to make sure that you have a foundation to all of the structures of your body before we start loading them here. There's an endurance phase that we also go through between these two, 6 to 8 weeks here, to really make sure that all of these structured muscles are conditioned to stay engaged while we're activating the other fiber types. Because again, they're completely different things that turn on when you're doing an exercise. So if this turns on and that doesn't, you're in trouble. We condition here to make sure these stay on while we go to here into the fun stuff, the strength stuff, the glamour stuff, the fitness stuff, right? We get to size later. Both of these are interchangeable back and forth. A lot of people, once they've gone through those types of things, we just continually go back and forth here just to make them look good and strong and also, get all the things they need to do in their life. But each of these 6 to 8 weeks as well. And then finally, we get into that power phase over here. I personally, as a trainer, I don't work with a ton of athletes that really want this power stuff. I've done it in the past. It's not that I'm not capable of it, but really, me as a trainer, when I look at how much people are actually supposed to be able to do in a short amount of time, it's really not canon level stuff, right? Yes, grandma needs power training. She needs to be able to get off the couch, and that requires some power generation to get up there. Short amount of time, a lot of relative power to what she is capable of generating, but it's not going to be Olympic level stuff there. So we'll dip into this every now and then, usually 2 to 4 weeks or so, and it's 1 or 2 exercises in a program that has these other components in it. But here's the most important part of this purple line here. It's not completely linear all the time. Once you graduate from here, you go straight to here. You don't have to worry about flexibility, right? No, you still have to be constantly going back to this and just maintaining it. That's the hardest part. Imagine, if you will, each one of these is a spinning plate, right? I got to spin these, get them going real good, and then I'll start this one, and then I got to spin them both. And then I get over here, and I got to spin all 3, so on and so forth. You really got to make sure that's balanced. Otherwise, we run into the same problem again. Lastly, this is going to get a little bit technical, so bear with me. How do I actually condition these muscles types in the first place? Time under tension is your friend. You need to know your numbers. And if you don't have a watch like this, or an Apple Watch, or a smartphone with a timer on its stopwatch, get one, because it's going to make or break your results with this. The other thing is the number of sets that you're actually doing. You can't just do one exercise for a muscle and call it a day. It needs multiple sets to actually stimulate this failure, this recruitment of maximum effort. So again, we start left. I got my type 1 fiber types. They need 120 seconds of total time under tension to get to fatigue, but it's not complete fatigue. About 30 seconds later, they're fully recovered. They can go again, baby. So here's what we do. 30 seconds of rest only, 30 to 45 seconds-ish, but really 30 seconds, you're starting your next set. 2 to 3 sets of 120 seconds of work each. Once you hit the end of that 3rd set, you shouldn't be able to do any more. I mean, it's just completely gassed out. Congratulations, that workout's done for that muscle group. And then move on to a different muscle group, do the exact same thing. And you do this for every body part that you really need to work on in this first phase. Once we get up to this type 2A stuff over here, I don't have the numbers on the board, but it's basically about 40 to 70 seconds of work, 3 to 5 sets, and you're looking at roughly about 50 to 90 seconds of rest. Most people just start a stopwatch for 60 seconds. When it goes off, they start their next set. And that's usually a pretty good idea of this generalized area through here. So 40 to 70, 3 to 5, 60 to 90. And then when we get to this power stuff, it's not a lot of work they can put out. They're completely gassed in 20 seconds. Think about this like a maximal sprint, or how many freaking burpees can you do in a short amount of time? What's the biggest, fastest, heaviest weight, like a snatch or something like that? Something very, 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 very fast here. And because we can't put that much work in, and they're going to be completely gassed, they need about 3 to 5 minutes between 4 to 6 sets to fully recover. So the guy you see in the gym that just did a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and then he sits there for 3 to 5 minutes, there's a reason he's doing it. He's probably one of the smartest people in the world in the gym. And I don't just mean guys, gals can also do this stuff too. So 20 seconds, 3 to 5 minutes of rest, 4 to 6 sets, and you're gonna be golden here. And again, I don't dip into this much more than once every couple months for myself, just to make sure these systems are staying on board. So to wrap this thing up, left to right on this chart, start with the foundation of this first. You can't fire a cannon from a canoe, and you can't build a battleship out of foam. It's just not going to work. And if you've tried in the past and you've been injured, you're especially the type of client I'm looking for, because I'm going to guide you through this step by step. Or if you already have a program and you want somebody else that's a little bit more experienced than you to kind of give an evaluation of it, feel free to reach out through me. I've got a free 30-minute consultation. I can look through the program, look at your history of information, all of your exercise physiology, and help design something that works a little bit better for you to build the body you want. That's it for this video. I hope this information is very helpful to you guys. As always, have a happy and healthy rest of your day. See you in the next one.